thing that I'm really fascinated by is Obama winning the election simply because there's only one type of human being on Earth that doesn't appear to have been seeded here by extraterrestrial races. In other words, most of the human beings on this planet are not local. The white person did not exist on Earth prior to about 10, 11,000 years ago. That's when we started to have the first interbreeding occurring that led to blue-eyed, white-skinned people.
Science will say that environment and climate is what did this over, thousands and thousands of years. Do you accept that at all? I guess not.
You can't explain why climate, for example, would lead to the physiological differences such that Asian people have very different looking upper eyelids, and the whole structure of the skull is different in shape. And you have African people that have much larger noses, much larger lips. The conventional explanation is that white people's noses are taller because it's cold weather and they cool the air down on the way in. Black people's noses are flatter because the air is hotter and they don't need to cool it down. That's very, very hypothetical. There's no real science to back that up. It's just a supposition.
So are you not positing the idea that those vehicles contain, beings who are, maybe like us?
Yeah, I only go along with government images. And if you want to know about people kind of thing, there is the ship that picked up the Voyager capsule at Alameda Naval Shipyard, and they have a picture there of I think it's the Apollo flight that Buzz and Neil were on. But anyway, there's one image there that shows black people getting off.
So people with dark skin getting off?
Not dark, black.
Black skin?
Really black, yeah.
Were they tall?
Yes.
Very tall?
Yeah.
How tall? Do you know?
Well, they got out the doorway. I don't know how high that is, but
at that time I didn't know.
What do you think
we
now?
have been in touch with the Anunnaki.
Okay. And are you aware of the Clark McClelland sort of testimony that talks about, this very, very tall spaceman do you remember that?
Mm-hmm.
So that was an Anunnaki, right?
Say again?
That was an Anunnaki. That was supposedly, Clark McClelland always said that he saw this very large, tall being instructing a couple of our astronauts on television screen.
Mm-hmm.
That was.
Well, if the beings he's talking of were almost like black Africans, yeah.
I see. But they were very tall.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Now,
advisor John Podesta, an advocate for UFO disclosure, posted on December the 11th, 2013 in the Huffington Post. It reads, quote, "For all of you who hope the United States government will lift the veil on its alleged stockpile of evidence that Earth is being visited by extraterrestrials, take heart. This week, former Clinton Chief of Staff and UFO advocate John Podesta was named as President Obama's newest advisor. Podesta, 64, has more than once publicly urged the United States government to release any UFO files that could help scientists determine the real nature of this phenomenon. President Obama, since you have John Podesta by your side, and you have the friendship of Bill and Hillary Clinton, who were taught of these UFOs by Laurance Rockefeller, since you have an army of those inside America and outside that have seen these things and will join with you if there's great opposition against you from the satanic mind.
Hey, what's up, people? It's Brother Rich from Underground Railroad Radio. Today, the topic of today's show is, are black people the extraterrestrials?
The ship was massive and could hold a city the size of New York inside of it. They say that it had been crashed on the moon for thousands of years. The asteroids that had hit the ship had left craters that many astronauts think were thousands of years old. Some people think that this woman is a Sumerian woman or a Babylonian woman. Sumer is located in the Fertile Crescent in the Middle East. The aliens they found were reptilian and also humanoid mammals with breasts and female genitals. The female was naked when they found her. There's actually another video I'm going to upload where they actually show the naked body of the female humanoid. This is her face. She had breathing devices connected. Those are not Q-tips. Those are tubes that contain breathing devices connected to her eyes. One was fused inside of her brain. They're connected to her nose and to her mouth. Now, this body was laying on the moon inside a crashed ship for nobody knows how long it's been there. But judging by the closest recognizable human civilization, they said that it looks Babylonian. The ship looked like it was covered with Babylonian cuneiform or Sumerian cuneiform. Those are breathing devices and some type of cyborg type of device in her brain. The alien bodies were frozen by the frail atmosphere of the moon. The female was nude but surrounded with blankets. The blankets were draped over her or near her and had complex circuits on them. They don't really know about the device that's connected to her face, but it looks like some type of breathing mechanism, and they think that she was some type of cyborg that was using there was a computer connected to her brain that was helping her communicate with other people. The female is speculated about. She has tubes attached to her face connecting her brain forehead. This is an example of some of the writing that they found. Now, this is somebody's handwriting. So they can't, even if they could understand the language, they can't read that. That's handwriting. And the paper, they don't even know what the paper's made out of. It'd be interesting to see a forensics study of what this creature is. They found handwritten notes on the bodies of the aliens similar to Civil War soldiers' practice of writing goodbye letters and placing them on their uniforms. Now, their society must have had access to the radioactive materials. The paper they used was not made out of wood like our paper. Perhaps the radioactive beryllium and radioactive plutonium and uranium are plentiful on their planet or on Earth about 5,000 years ago. Earth was plentiful with beryllium, plutonium, and uranium. Now it's been depleted by these space travelers, and that's why we lost the technology of traveling, interdimensional time travel and space travel, because they used up all of the radioactive materials that are needed in order to power their ships. This is a close-up of the circuits wired into the blankets that were found on the ship. These are circuits. That's circuitry. Perhaps the circuitry is made out of a type of metal that we don't even have. I mean, that is found very, very rarely on Earth. These are close-ups of her skin frozen in space and well preserved, not decayed. They say there was a clear... Now her body didn't rot like most people's body would decay. Hers didn't, for some reason, because of the unusual atmosphere inside the ship, which was crashed there. But the ship was open to the moon, the surface of the moon. Now, this is some type of schematic showing where the ship is located, I guess. I'm not too sure what that is. That's a note made by the astronauts. She had something connected to her brain. We don't know what it was. If you notice her eyebrows are arched. She looks like a Southeast Asian, or some people say she looks like Peruvian or a Sumerian. But if you look at her features, the eyebrows are arched. Now, in the scriptures, it talks about the angels plucking the daughters of Earth eyebrows to arch their eyebrows. That is a very specific scripture from Genesis. Notice how her eyebrows are plucked and arched. Notice how her hair is braided. It said in Genesis, the daughters of Earth, their hair was braided. The angels told them to braid their hair out and to pluck their eyebrows. And that's exactly what we see here. And then plus this technology in the Muslim, the Quran, it says the angels brought technology, weapons of war and weapons of the technology of flight and everything. It said the angels brought that. Now, this looks like the woman that was described as the daughter of Earth, the daughters of Earth. She's Afro-Semitic, Afro-Asian features. Perhaps these were the daughters of Earth that were being talked about in Genesis, in the Bible. If you read that, about the fallen angels coming down. Now there were reptilian angels. There are in the scriptures in the Old Testament, it says there were angels that were made gray. Angels that were cast down and they were made gray. And then it talks about the dragon-like angels. They're not called angels. They're given a different name. But they're celestial beings that are reptilian, dragon-like. The Bible says that the earth women were taught technology by the angels. Maybe she didn't need her eyes anymore because she had all those cyborg-like devices connected to her. Bible scholars say scriptures speak of angels that were reptile-like. It said that her brain was basically fried. So whatever was connected to her brain, it caused her brain to come out through her nose, like the ancient Egyptian mummies. So her brain was completely incinerated. The circuitry got overloaded. Angels that were cast down maybe on other planets. This is, notice how her eyes are slanted like an Asian and her lips are full like an African. This fits the description of the type of people that may have lived in Ethiopia around the time the Genesis was talking about. Now, they bred with the fallen angels and made a race of giants. Like I said, there were reptilian angels, too. They're studying her right now. I think they're doing forensics on her to find out her cause of death. She froze to death, her brain was fried. The device that was connected to her face is being studied. They found rocks that were, and herbs and plants. Remember it said they were taught, it said that the daughters